You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Sabrina Rabban, founder and principal attorney of a solo real estate practice based in Uniondale, New York, serving clients all across Long Island and New York City. Sabrina's journey is rooted in using the law to give people clarity and a voice during high-stakes moments, while also building something of her own as a business founder. Welcome, Sabrina. Good to meet you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Yeah, of course. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us where you grew up and what early experience shaped your interest in law.
Sure. So I grew up in Long Island and stayed here throughout. I went to school here, college, law school, and worked here forever. So I wanted to go to law school really to help people, but I also had this passion to start something of my own, to start a business, and I wasn't sure how to do both.
Right.
I didn't know any attorneys. I didn't have any in the family.
Right.
So,
wow. Yep.
So it was kind of me just researching, Googling, speaking to anyone. When I got a chance, a lot of those were solo attorneys.
Right.
And so I was really inspired by them, and it's something that I wanted to do and continue to have that goal throughout law school.
So what drew you to the law? Not having any family members, when you were younger, was there a moment, was there a TV show, was there just for me, I loved reading I loved reading cases, not that I understood them 100%, but I loved having a case book and just paging through it, and I thought the language was so interesting, and I loved learning about constitutional law and that sort of thing. Was there anything like that?
I mean, I found it very interesting.
Yeah.
And I always was someone that did well in school, but I never quite fit the stereotype of what people assumed would be a future lawyer. I was never the loudest one in the room, but I was always very good at building relationships with people and earning their trust and figuring things out. And I thought that's something that could have really helped me in law practice, and helping clients figure out their problems, helping them get to their end goal.
That's awesome. So you went to Hofstra, both undergrad and law school. Do you know that they used to have a football team at Hofstra?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, one of my friends was on it back in the day. So that was pretty upsetting when they did away with it back in the day. The Flying Dutchman, I think, okay. Anyway, so okay, good. So before you went to law school, did you see yourself becoming a business person at all? Was that on your radar?
It was. I just wasn't sure how I would accomplish that or whether I could do that with law. I just didn't have the background. And it was only when I started speaking with other attorneys that I saw that as an option.
Okay. So sort of a light went on. Was there a moment they said, hey, you should try, you might not be that outspoken, but hey, real estate's transactional, that sort of thing?
Yeah. I mean, what I like about real estate is that I could do both transactional and litigation.
Okay.
So my background is in litigation. I started off after law school at the DA's office. So I got a lot of training there to be a trial attorney.
Okay.
And I love that I can combine both in this field specifically, where you can't do that with a lot of other fields.
So what was that experience like? Was that your first job at a law school?
Yeah, it was.
How long did you work there for?
A few years.
Okay. And you said you were a DA?
Assistant district attorney.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you did that a few years, and then you were you talked to some people and you're property sounds, and that's the way I want to go.
Yeah, yeah.
What about criminal
It's
defense?
very
Like,
different. Yeah, I mean, criminal defense is definitely, it's the natural progression. That's where a
right,
lot of
right,
my
right,
colleagues went.
right.
Some of them are now with criminal defense firms. Some went out on their own and do criminal defense work, but it wasn't a practice area that I wanted to stay in. I thought, the stories, I loved working with the victims and the witnesses, but the stories were very difficult and explaining these legal processes where it wasn't always beneficial to them, and in their favor was often very challenging when they were going through these very distressing situations sometimes.
Right.
Uh, so I wanted something that was more, sometimes has a positive outcome. When you go through a transaction and everyone's shaking hands saying congratulations at the end. And
You like
that's
that?
not something I ever
Right.
experienced in a criminal courtroom.
Right.
So that's
No.
what I really liked in real estate.
Yeah. You could either like build things up or sort of take it apart in the law, you know. You
Yeah.
can break apart things or just sort of like put them together. So you attended Hofstra, as we mentioned. Like, so what drew you there besides, I mean, the area? Obviously, you went there undergrad. Like, were you looking anywhere else, or like what? And then tell us a little bit about your law school experience.
Yeah, I really wasn't looking anywhere else. I knew I wanted to go to law school. And I was in a program with them where I could
Okay.
skip a year of undergrad
Wow.
and start law school early. So I kind of just
Wow.
went through their process and ended up finishing through their law school program and going this route.
So was it like 6 year program, or like how do they do that?
Yeah, it's a 6 year program.
So so at the end of 3 years, do they give you your undergrad, or you just get it all at once?
They give you your undergrad at the end of your first year of law school.
Okay.
So it's a very weird system. I didn't know whether I was an undergrad, whether I was a 1L.
Yeah,
I was very confused, but I was taking 1L classes.
you were. Was that
Yeah.
what was the Socratic method like there? Did you get called on a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's pretty standard.
pretty typical. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's like trying to get your undergrad degree and they're over there pegging you with like calling on you and stuff. I don't know. That was like a big thing for me. I didn't love it, but
Yeah.
people
I
don't
tried
care.
not to mention that. I was an undergrad still.
Yeah, okay. That I mean, that might have been fun for some of your friends, go to like some undergrad parties and stuff. I mean, not like I ever did that. I went to law school where we had an undergrad campus too. So that
Mhm.
was pretty interesting. Um, so did you take any real estate course in law school or anything?
I did, but not many. No.
Okay, not many. Not many. So, have you done anything in where your practice area, like where you live and stuff like that that has sort of been like okay, like turned a light on because you've seen a property one way and then you're actually doing some sort of real estate transaction for it, and so it kind of like I don't know. I don't know if this question's making sense. Like say like a few years before you went to college, you knew of some sort of property or land that's been vacant, and then like 10 years later, you're the attorney doing like the closing or doing whatever type of thing. Has that happened? Like, have you recognized any properties that you ended up working on?
I mean, not in that sense, but I've done commercial leases for companies and businesses where, I've been in that area so many times, whether it's shopping centers, malls. I just know the general location, general area. And it's nice to see clients that I've represented and, everything's gone smoothly and successfully. And now they're there in that space.
When you graduated, tell me about like the process to get your first job. Was that like difficult? Was that like a difficult um, thing to get a first job? Were people coming on campus recruiting you guys, or did you have to go out and find it yourself?
A mix of both.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot on campus looking for jobs. There were a lot of connections with the DA's office within my
Yeah.
school, which was
Okay.
very good. Um, and that allowed me to start there.
Okay.
But also, I've interviewed with firms on the outside looking for jobs too.
Okay. So in the summer of 2024, you made the leap and you launched your own solo practice. Congratulations. So that's what, 2 summers ago? You've been at it for like a
A year
year
and
and
a
a
half.
half? Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So like what pushed you to make that step? Like when did you know it was time to become an entrepreneur?
I, well, it was a mix of circumstances, a lot of it being the right time. Um, I was in the DA's office at the time, and when they promote you, you basically do a rotation through multiple different bureaus there. So it was at that point during the summer of 2024 where I was in what's called intake, and you're taking in a lot of calls and information from the police departments as cases come in, making sure everything is legally sound and passing it off to the ADAs working on them. So it was when it was busy, it was dependent on, that night and whether it was, there was a lot of criminal activity or not. Some nights were very quiet, nothing was going on. And those were the nights where I had a lot of free time to sit and think and essentially plan my business out. That's when I began reaching out to a lot of people and explaining this idea to them, talking about it, asking questions, building a website, building a social media presence. And that's when I kind of propelled it and was able to get my first client by the time that I left the DA's office.
Wow. That's amazing. So you always had sort of like this idea of that, like, you're ready to go out on your own, and you kind of wanted to work for yourself, right? You didn't want to work for be doing what you were doing anymore. Did you ever think of like personal injury or like anything different? Maybe you'd start doing that type of thing?
Yeah, I definitely did.
You did? All right.
And that was one of the first cases that I almost took. But I think I was more so talked out of it by an attorney that actually has become a mentor to me, and is someone that I even work with on some cases.
Okay.
He really helped me figure out that real estate was for me, and it's something that I enjoyed doing.
Yeah. So tell me the importance of having a mentor.
I think it's really important, especially when if you are going into a field that you are not too familiar with, that's new to you, but you want to take cases in that area, or just someone to ask general business advice of, things you don't learn in law school, how to run a law practice, whether to take a client or not, whether to even fire a client, how financials are handled, how to market yourself. All of these things are something we don't walk away with from law school and we don't know about.
Oh, it's so much stuff. So
Yeah.
was it the same person who mentored you, like about what practice to go into, like who helps you with all those type of things?
He's definitely one of the people I speak to a lot about it. Someone that's been in the field for many years.
Yeah. So like what's like the most challenging thing about in the last like year and a half? What's been like the most challenging thing about being your own boss?
I don't think necessarily being my own boss, but managing expectations.
Yeah.
Clients.
Okay.
I work with a lot of business people.
That's awesome.
And they often want, very clear answers, very quick fixes, quick resolutions, quick guidance. But that's not often the reality of legal work. And so managing that expectation while also delivering something to them on time, helping them.
Sabrina, so tell me what services you offer at your law firm.
Sure. So I do residential closings, commercial closings, commercial leases, different types of contracts and agreements, and litigation, mostly real estate litigation.
Okay. So what do you find, like, what's the trend now? Like, what do you find you're getting the most of? Is it just a mix of things, or what do you see happening?
There's definitely a mix, but I do see a lot of people who either, put their child on their deed to their house or inherit property with a family member. And a lot of times that results in dispute. One may want to sell it, one doesn't agree to it, and then their hands are tied. They can't do anything. They come to me and I try to help them come to an agreement. If not, we file a lawsuit.
Wow.
And it's often a very tough situation because a lot of times it involves family members. It might even involve business partners who have been working together for a long time. So these are often challenging circumstances, but I do see a lot of these.
Is that more like a will contest though, like litigation, like estate planning litigation, or is that property? Like how do you mix in there?
They overlap a
Okay.
lot,
All right.
especially, yes, estate planning and real estate in many circumstances overlap. But this is often someone who added their children to their deed to help with for estate planning purposes,
Uh-huh.
or they may have done so in the past because they couldn't qualify for a loan if they purchased their house. They needed their child to co-sign on a mortgage, or people who inherited property together after someone had passed away. So there is overlap in those circumstances,
Yep.
but
That sounds complicated. That sounds really like complicated stuff.
yeah, yeah. Often involves a lot of family dynamics also.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, I bet.
conflict.
So you got like the mix of like family law, wills, trusts, property. So that's a lot. So you initially focused on real estate transactions. So what did those early clients and cases like teach you about the real world side of practice?
I think in terms of residential closings, which is what I started doing, and I did have one of my first cases was a litigation matter, um, is really engaging with clients on a regular basis, keeping them updated, keeping them informed, and explaining legal processes to them without boring them or over lecturing them,
Yep.
but having them also contribute to their
Yeah.
cases in that respect. But um, I think in those early days, I was struggling with that and maybe over explaining things. And I, over time, had gotten better at that.
That's great. That's great. Like where do you see yourself as having evolved the most? Is that one of the areas like since you started a year and a half ago?
Um, I think I'm able to take on more complex cases than I was initially, especially because this was a newer practice area that I was getting
Gotcha.
into. I've only had internship experience in it, but taking on cases with other attorneys as well has helped me learn about these types of matters while also working on them, getting advice from colleagues. A lot of the people I work with, I actually went to law school with.
Okay.
So that is very helpful to have those people around.
Like over time, like what drove you, like your practice expanded into commercial real estate and litigation, like what drove you to do that?
I I like that commercial is generally more complex. There's more involved. It's a little bit higher stakes,
Okay.
uh, especially, with commercial leasing. You're often working with businesses who don't want to put too much at risk, but also want to grow their business, rent out a space, but do so with caution. Um, and in terms of litigation, being able to take on more complex cases.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that. So like more of a challenge sort of thing. It's not like
Yeah.
the same as that sort of.
Also from the business side of this,
Okay.
learning what works for a law firm, what doesn't, what works for me. Um, I realize I like making videos on social media, so that's
Yeah.
what I do every now and then when I have some
Yeah.
time. And that also helps, promote my firm and
Yep.
be recognizable.
Tag us in some of those. We'll put them up in the stories. I
Sure.
think they're really good, actually. Like, what do you, especially like the little clips, like they're like 30 to 60 seconds. I think those are very like impactful, actually. I think once, people start seeing them and it's, what do you love so much about it? Like, is there one in particular that you had fun making that you remember or just like doing all of them?
I don't think there's one I remember in particular.
Yeah.
It's really just to stay on the minds of people I know.
Yeah.
And that's really who reaches out to me through those videos. It's friends, acquaintances, maybe people I met 5, 10 years ago that I don't really speak with,
Really?
but have a cousin who has a legal matter. So I tend to stay on top of people's minds in that circumstance.
Do you think it's helped with getting some clients and like having them being like, hey, there's Sabrina, like she knows a thing or two about real estate, like let's call her.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know if people actually listen to the whole thing,
No, they
but
should. I mean, look, 30 seconds or 60 seconds, that's where the sweet spot is. I mean, you'd be
yeah,
surprised. I mean, people sit there, well, maybe I do, but people sit there and like they'll just scroll and listen to these things. And, I saw them. I think they're
yeah.
pretty good. I hope people check them out. I hope we get some of you to post.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so, like, from a client's perspective, how does having one attorney who understands both sides of real estate dispute change the outcome or experience, do you think, for that client?
Well, I mean, there aren't many attorneys that do both.
Right.
That's one thing. There's a very strict division, I noticed, between those that do litigation, those that do transactional matters. But having both perspectives, I think, has benefited my clients. So from the transactional side, um, when it comes to contracts, noticing any points of inconsistency that could cause dispute, I pick up on that fairly quickly, maybe more so than my opposing counsel. When it comes to litigation, I have actually been able to anticipate discovery that might exist in those circumstances where I have dealt with the transaction side of the basis of the lawsuit. So I
Hmm.
know what documents would be out there um, more quickly than I think my opposing side would. I'm able to draft settlements that have transactional components because I'm able to understand how they work out because I've done them.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds challenging. Transactional components. I like that.
Yeah, sometimes they
So
are.
what's that?
Sometimes they are.
So what are some of the common misconceptions clients have when it comes to real estate transactions that you wish more people understood?
Um, Definitely, there are a lot of misconceptions with residential real estate, purchasing a home. First-time home buyers often think that um, when they come to the end of the transaction, after they close, if they find some kind of issue with the property, some kind of defects, many people think they can automatically go to the seller, ask them to pay for it, sue the seller. That's not always the case, and sometimes that's very hard to do. We usually buy property here in New York, where the contract says everything is as is.
Hmm.
So it's very tough to bring a case to sue the seller. And that's a tough conversation sometimes I have to have with people.
Is the as is clause more for commercial or residential?
I've seen it in
Really?
both, but it's always in residential.
And people will actually sign that? Is that because New York's like so competitive with getting property that like you'll just take whatever you can get, sort of thing? I mean, that just because that's a lot. Like taking something as is. I mean, you see that as on like a car, maybe like it's gonna beat up old car, but like property to take as is, isn't that like why would somebody want to do that?
I mean, I get that it can be scary.
Yeah,
Absolutely. You're living there if it's a residential
yeah,
property. But that because of that, we're required to do the inspections beforehand, title reports, make sure everything is working smoothly. Um, Even before closing, I often recommend to clients and brokers do too, to walk through the house, see if everything works, check the light switches, the stove, because once you purchase a property, the seller could be gone. You could be across the country. You'll
yeah,
never hear from him again.
right.
And it's very important to take these steps because we're buying property as is.
Yeah, no, for sure. Are most of them as are they most as is or not? Wow.
Yeah,
That's
everything. Yeah.
wow. All right. So what are some red flags or moments when you wish a person would call a lawyer sooner rather than later? Like somebody's getting involved with something that they probably shouldn't, like maybe they don't do the inspection, before they're signing on the dotted line. Like, have you had to like bail anybody out of like any situations, or do you see that often in real estate where, somebody like I remember hearing somebody paid too much for they accepted an offer, but then they got another offer that was like $30,000 more. So they're like, oh, I don't want the first offer. Like I want to take, like stuff like that. Does that happen a lot?
Yeah, that definitely happens.
Yeah.
But if you're not in contract already, you could definitely take, the better offer. You have every right to.
Right.
Um, but yeah, it could be a challenge when both sides have already signed. There's a better offer that comes up and they're stuck. They can't do
Right.
anything about it.
So as a solo attorney, how do you balance being both the lawyer and the business owner at the same time?
You're really just doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
I could be deep in researching something for a client and at the same time picking up a call from someone new, someone that was referred, but at the same time uploading a new video to Instagram.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
all
that
at the
takes
same
priority.
time.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. It's all at the same time.
The Instagram videos are definitely like priority. I'm telling. Are you so? Is your staff? Do you have any help, or what, is it just you? Like, where are you located? Like that sort of thing.
Yeah, right now it's just me.
Yep.
I have mostly a virtual practice,
Okay.
like a virtual law firm. Um, and that's something that I really love. I have
Yeah.
there's a front desk staff that also helps answer the phone calls. I use their mailing address, but I could work from anywhere. I could work from home, um, wherever it may be, from the office even too. I've hosted closings there. I've had many things go on both there and here. You could really do that with real estate because a lot of it is contract based. You're doing things
Right.
online. Even filings for court, that's all online.
Yeah,
So
I know it's amazing, right? Like offices are like a thing of the past almost. Like after COVID, it's crazy, like how much has changed, how much has shifted, I feel like in the legal world and a lot of the offices out there, a lot of the sort of like the job markets out there. So like, do you
yeah.
feel, sorry, were you just gonna say something?
No, I mean I hope to also expand and
Yeah.
have a paralegal, an associate one day, but also still keep it virtual. I want to, play around with that idea and see how that could work.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that that's something that would definitely, that model would definitely work. How's business right now? Like, do you feel like it's trending in the right direction? Are you going to be like doing something different soon, like adding something, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I see everything, it's going in the right direction. I'm very happy with the decision I made to go forward with this.
Yeah.
Um, but down the line, I do want to, like I said, there's a lot of overlap between real estate and estate planning. And I
Okay.
do want to expand into that field. I do work a lot with other attorneys that are estate planners to come to the best solution for my clients sometimes when they have questions. So expanding into that area, I think it could provide more holistic advice for my clients.
So how do you think you get most of your business, or how do you know you get most of your business? Is it referrals? Is it people, looking at your videos and saying, "Hey, that young lady looks nice." Like, what do you think it's, or looks like a smart attorney? Sorry, like like how do you think you're getting most of the business coming in?
It's a real mix
It's a mix, yeah.
everywhere. Yeah, it's about half referrals, clients who are coming back, half from people I know, acquaintances, maybe that I met a few times, some online also. So it's really a broad mix.
What do you think the value of like lawyer to lawyer networking is?
I think it's really important.
Yeah,
But I think also what's important is networking with other people.
yeah,
I've seen a great benefit networking with brokers, investors, other people in the real estate field.
yeah. Banks too, maybe.
Banks, yeah.
Banks could send you some like some stuff as well, I guess.
Yeah.
What about so like what would you say some of the challenge are that like law school just doesn't prepare you for as like running your own firm? Everything, right?
Really everything.
Everything.
I one of my biggest questions when I started was, what do I do with a retainer? How do I bill a client?
Right.
I didn't know how to do that. I didn't
So
know
much
how
to
I can
learn.
accept
I'm like,
payments. I mean, and all of that is also ethics based.
right.
I don't want to,
Right.
get into trouble for anything so early
Right.
on.
You need like an escrow and then you got to pull from
Yeah.
that, right? As you like do your
Yeah.
hours. And is that how it works? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But that took some time to figure out.
Right.
It's not something you're ever told.
Right. You like you pay yourself like the hours you work, I guess, and then just the
Yeah.
rest of it like stays there. Is that something like,
Yeah.
I think that's, I don't
That's
know.
the general idea.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Right. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like advertising, like even when you expand to have, you have like a remote team where you have a team, you have a paralegal, you have to figure out like payroll and how to pay people and like their benefits and like all that. If you offer that stuff, like it's a
Yeah.
lot, right? I mean, I don't think you could be just like Venmoing people like like their paycheck. I don't know.
I
So
don't know.
we just really don't learn a lot of that stuff, right? It's kind of like trial by fire.
Yeah, you're in the dark.
In the
And
dark.
marketing yourself, branding yourself as an attorney, especially on social media, it's becoming bigger and bigger.
It
I
is.
see a lot of other attorneys doing it and making great videos too. So it's not something you learn about.
So tell me about expanding. Like, what do you want to do to expand? Like, you said you want to hire maybe a paralegal, maybe an associate.
Yeah, yeah, and it expands into the next practice area, maybe, and see how I could do that. Maybe with an associate's help,
Right.
also
Right. And that
bringing
would
in
be
someone
estate
that knows
planning.
that. Yeah, bringing in someone that knows more about estate planning and can assist me there.
What did we leave out? Like, do you want to talk about anything else? Like, more about the practice? Like, more about, do you want to give some advice for somebody who's thinking about starting their own firm?
I actually get calls for advice from people that I used to work with,
Yeah.
um, people that I've known in the past that want to do this and want to go out their own. I think my biggest piece of advice there would be to just reach out to everybody and anybody
Yeah.
as early as you can in the process. Let them know what you're doing. Be honest about your concerns, ask questions, get advice. Um, and this is everyone, not just attorneys, but coworkers, people you know. My first client actually came from my husband's old boss, who
Wow.
I did reach out to. Also, he's one of the people that I'd met him a handful of times, but I did reach out to him. He remembered me. There was a situation going on, and he reached out. So it's a simple step, but you never know who will get back to you, who will show up, and you'll be
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss?
No.
No. All right.
Up to you.
No, I mean I've gone through my list of things like so you tell us about expansion. You want to expand into go from real estate, commercial real estate, um, everything you're doing now, and maybe go into estate planning.
Yeah,
Yeah, those two things, yes, they would probably connect pretty
me
well.
too.
Okay, we talked about advice for young lawyers. What about somebody looking to go to law school?
I think you could do anything really with a law degree.
Yeah,
Um, I have friends, colleagues who went into so many different areas, whether it's personal injury, real estate, entertainment law, um, and some that just work for companies. They've never worked for a law firm, or worked in a government position. So, the opportunities are really endless. And I would always recommend law school.
really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no,
not
that's
common. People say don't go, but I would
real.
recommend.
No, you don't. I feel like you had a good experience. It sounds like. Right? Did you find it like you had a good experience in law school? Like, was it difficult? Was it just sort of like another day at the office? Like, how did you feel about it?
I thought it was difficult,
You
but
did? Okay.
I think I was too tired through the process that I just don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now looking back, I did see it as a positive experience. It's something that gave me the foundation of where I am now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you're already like in year two of your of your journey here as an entrepreneur. You should talk about the entrepreneur journey too, like in some videos and stuff like that. Like I think that would be kind of cool to hear about. So yeah, I mean, thanks for coming on and spending some time and telling us about the law office, your practice. Sabrina Rabban in Uniondale, New York, solo real estate practice.
Thank you.
Uh, I remember my real estate exam in law school. It was like I got to work with somebody else, and he had worked at a real estate firm. Thank goodness.
That's great.
He knew like all the answers, which was great. Because I think it was like an oral exam too, which was like really weird. Yeah. So, congratulations to you on your success.
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing more of you and posting more of your stuff and introducing you to anybody we know. Honestly.
Thank you. It's great meeting you.
Yeah, likewise. Stay right there, okay? Everybody else, thanks for tuning in. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves. Cheers.